Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Today is a special edition of these Ramadan talks. Today, a dear uncle of mine passed away. He played a pivotal role in my life and my parents' life. He was a loving man. He loved his family. He loved his community. He loved just everything. And the generosity of his heart is the stuff of legend. And I want to honor him today by remembering all the gifts and blessings that he showered on his family and the generosity with which he lived is an example to us all. To give you just a small taste of his vast list of generosity, he bought me my first computer. And today I am professionally a director of technology and a software engineer. You never know what ripples your generous acts will have. You think it might last a few hours or a few days or a few weeks, but sometimes they last years and lifetimes. And so this episode of these talks, I want to dedicate to my uncle, Ashiq Chacha. This is for you. This is from my book, Chapter 4, You Are Forever. We belong to God, and we are returning to Him. When we were little children, we treasured our toys, but a time came when those toys broke or were taken away, and we were miserable. When we were teenagers, we treasured our clothes and shoes, but a time came when they got ruined or worn out, and we were miserable. When we became adults, we treasured our careers, but a time came when our careers demanded too many sacrifices, or we lost interest and we became miserable. Doesn't it make you wonder why this keeps happening? Why do we keep giving our loyalty to things that don't give their loyalty to us? Wouldn't it be amazing if we had something that could never get ruined or worn out? Wouldn't it be wonderful if we had something that could never get lost or taken away from us? We can only ask these kinds of questions because God put in us the desire for a treasure we can always have and keep and enjoy. We tried to find this treasure among the world's toys, clothes, shoes, jewelry, houses, and careers, but everything in the world has a beginning and an end. Sooner or later, it loses its value and charm. That's why nothing in the world can be the treasure we're looking for. And yet God has hidden it in plain sight. So where exactly is this treasure? It's right where you are. You yourself are the treasure you've been looking for. God not only gave you such a treasure, He made you such a treasure. The being that you are is the treasure you can always have and keep and enjoy. Since its nature can't be changed, it can never be ruined or worn out. Since it is what you really are, you can never lose it or have it taken away. In fact, God treasures the being that you are so much that He has blessed it with a life that never ends. This verse says that we belong to God and we are returning to Him. When God says be and brings you into being, He is your origin. When God says that you are returning to Him, He is your destination. When God says that you belong to Him, He is your guardian. This is how he completely surrounds, embraces, and protects your life from all sides. When he gave you the gift of life from his life, he gave you a life that never ends. So the being that you are not only lives, but lives forever and doesn't die. Give thanks to God for this. A life that never ends is not the usual way we talk about life. We often use phrases like life and death, where we put life next to death as if they have something in common. We think they are opposites that are related somehow, like up or down, left or right, night or day. But life is more than the life and death of the body or the mind or the heart. Life is a quality of God himself. In fact, life in Arabic, al-hay, is one of the names of God in the Quran. God is life. He not only lives, but lives forever and doesn't die. Everything that is alive receives a little gift of life from God's life. Such a life is always living. It never stops living. It does not know dying. That's why life can never be put next to death as if they are opposites. Life is not the opposite of death. Life is one. It has no opposite. The proper opposite of death is birth. What is born dies. Birth and death go together. Life has nothing to do with either of them. Life puts on a physical form, and we call it birth. Life puts down that physical form, and we call it death. But that life itself lives on forever. Since it was never born, it can never die. As a being who was given such a life, no harm can ever come to you. Many things can happen to your body, of course. You can break a bone. You can get a disease. You can experience physical death. But since the birth of your body didn't give you life, the death of your body can't take life away from you. When you belong to the God of life, you don't belong to anyone or anything else, especially death. Death doesn't have the power to take your life because death has no power over life. In fact, nothing in the heavens and the earth, nothing in all of creation can end your life because they have no authority over it. You are never going to die because you are forever. However, this will not stop certain circumstances in your life from making you think that you are going to die, or at least that you are under the threat of death. For example, you can be anxious about your circumstances. You can be afraid of what might happen in the future. You can be filled with regret about the past. You can be disappointed that something you wanted to happen didn't happen. You can feel defeated because you didn't achieve something. You can be full of despair for reasons you don't quite understand. And yet, no matter how painful and overwhelming these circumstances feel to you, they can't kill you. They can't even really defeat you. You may feel defeated, but you can't be defeated. Why? Because feelings can be raised up by victory and pushed down by defeat, but the being that you are remains untouched and untroubled by victory or defeat. It stays the same no matter what is happening in your world. Can you think of anything else in your life that has the same qualities? This being can't be lost, it can't be stolen, it can't be ruined, it can't be worn out, it can't fall apart, it can't be cut, it can't be broken, it can't be hurt, it can't bleed, it can't be burned, it can't get weak, it can't get sick, it can't die. That's why the being that you are is a treasure worth more than all the silver and gold and diamonds and pearls in the world. It can never be taken away from you. You can lose everything you are. You can lose everything you have, but you can't lose what you are. For example, when something happens to your body, like you get hurt or sick, remember who you are. Say, I am not my body. I have a body. I am experiencing getting hurt. I am experiencing getting sick. But the being that I am is not hurt. The being that I am is not sick. I am whole. When something happens to your mind, like you get worried or disappointed, remember who you are. Say, I am not my mind. I have a mind. I am experiencing worry. I am experiencing disappointment. But the being that I am is not worried. The being that I am is not disappointed. I am whole. When something happens to your heart, like you feel lonely or scared, remember who you are. Say, I am not my heart. I have a heart. I am experiencing loneliness. I am experiencing fear, but the being that I am is not lonely. The being that I am is not afraid. I am whole. All this is not to deny that you are going through a difficult experience. That has to be faced and accepted with compassion. What you are trying to do is to make sure that your difficulty doesn't become your whole story. Even in the middle of the pain, there is a part of you that is not in pain. And that part is what can prevent you from getting consumed, overwhelmed, and paralyzed by the pain. By identifying yourself properly with the being that you are, you can pass more easily through your difficulty with courage, wisdom, and grace. So whenever you find yourself in the middle of difficult circumstances, say, I belong to God and I am returning to Him. Instead of focusing on your troubles, focus on your identity. Remember that the being that you are stays alive forever and never dies. No challenge, no difficulty, and no tragedy can weaken, hurt, or destroy you. You are going to outlast all your troubles. So take a deep breath and smile. Let this give your body, mind, and heart the strength and courage they need to stand up inside your troubles and work to overcome them. Work on changing your insides by learning that you are forever. This is your share of the good news that life has already overcome death. When God created the sun and the moon and the stars, He put a time limit on them. When God spoke you into being, He put no time limit on you because He created you outside of time. He made you to live forever because He has a long-term investment in you. That's why nothing can end your life. Not earth, water, fire, or air. Not heartbreak or loss. Not embarrassment or rejection. Not depression or delusion. Not fear or death. Your life comes from God's life. And since He is forever, you are forever. Give thanks to God for this. Declare, I am forever. Thank you, God, for making me live forever. This is dedicated to my uncle, Ashiq Chacha, a beautiful spiritual being who touched all our lives and is now with Allah. Inna lillahi wa inna ilayhi rajiun. Blessings to you. Blessings to you. Blessings to you. Blessings to you.